So this all started when Andy spoke at the conference in Providence in June. He did a great presentation on doing things with purpose, with intention. And he had started a charity when his sister got sick and started climbing mountains. And then his wife got sick as well with MS and started raising money for MS as well. And after his presentation, we were talking, and he offered to include FIRST in his activity, his Arizona rim to rim to rim Grand Canyon trip, and said, hey, why don't you guys get involved? We'd love to have you along. And I just thought it was a tremendous opportunity. Long before I came along, we've heard stories about Denise Goss's brother who hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, and the whole community sort of followed along with him as he did that. And it was very, very inspiring and motivating and letting people know what's possible, even in the world of ichthyosis. And I thought the time is right for another kind of example like that, where we can, be motivating, be inspirational, show people what's possible with ichthyosis, but then also raise some money as well. So I'm going to have Andy talk a little bit about the specifics of the trip, but you've read some in the e-news and in the social media and stuff about what we're trying to do, but we're going to get really digging deep into some of the specifics about what the trip is, what it isn't, what some of the requirements might be as far as your own conditioning, and what it's really like to be in the Grand Canyon, because I think Andy was just there last week.
I was there just last week. Yep, I'm fresh. Got fresh news for you.
Excellent. So, Andy, this is some representatives of the community who have already expressed some interest in taking part of the trip. We also have several people who are not able to make it tonight, but we are recording, so that we'll send them the link and give them the information.
Awesome. Good to see some of you again. I know Chris and Chris, I'm not sure if anybody else was there back in June, but what a wonderful conference retreat. I walked away so inspired from the participants that I was so excited to possibly join you guys on an expedition. Just to correct Chris, I think he raised his hand and said, I'm a bit of a hiker. And that's when I said, okay, great. If you're a hiker, then come on along and so let's do rim to rim and raise some money and raise awareness at the same time. So that's how the trip came about. And as Chris just alluded to, we started Jody's Climb for Hope to raise money as fast as we could for the disease research. And certainly kind of a byproduct of that is the experience that we all go through as participants. So whether you're afflicted with a certain disorder or you're not, you're going through a really challenging expedition, whether we're climbing mountains or we're going across the Grand Canyon. It's very challenging. And so it builds mental resilience. It helps us take on different challenges, helps us realize what we're truly capable of. I can't think of any participant in the past 12 years and hundreds whose lives have not been changed, realizing what they can go through. So it's kind of a dual purpose, three purposes: to raise money, raise awareness, and also help people understand what people are going through in life. So with that, let me tell you about the Grand Canyon. I was just there last week, so some of these pictures I'm about to show you are just been developed. Chris, do I have ability to share my screen?
I believe so, yes.
You're right. Give me a second. There it is. Can you all see it?
Not yet.
It's a blank screen right now. It says you're very
okay. There it is.
Awesome. So as we said, we're gonna attempt to do the rim to rim to rim of the Grand Canyon. The tentative dates right now are May 17th through May 21st of 2023. The North Rim kind of officially opens on May 15th every year. So we typically go from a Wednesday to a Sunday. If we all come back and say, oh my gosh, we love it, we're all coming, and we need to move the dates around, we're certainly flexible on that. We're not etched in stone at this point, but that's tentatively we want to go. We can't go a week earlier. We could potentially go a week later or move it around a little bit, but those are the tentative dates that we've got based on the North Rim opening. We're super excited. It's a beautiful bucket list place to visit. 50 million people go there every year. Only 1% of them drop into the canyon. So this is an opportunity to be a 1%er. Let me skip ahead. So this is the rim to rim to rim of the Grand Canyon. So what you're seeing, if you look on the right side of the screen where it says south rim, sorry, I can't see it because something's in the way, but that's the south rim on the right-hand side. We're going to take the Bright Angel Trail down. You descend 3,000 vertical feet. So you see the Bright Angel Trail on the right at the south rim, descend 3,000 vertical feet over about 8 miles to the River Rest House. We cross the beautiful, mighty, inspiring, awe-inspiring Colorado River on a there's a bridge. Just it's not like we're forging the river. Cross over the bridge over the other side and have lunch at Bright Angel Campground. Beautiful place at the bottom of the canyon. It is a tad warm, so we don't spend a lot of time there. We make our way across and up the North Rim, past several stations, up to the North Rim, and then you can see it's rather steep, up 4,000 vertical feet to the North Rim. And the North Rim, the altitude is 8,000 feet. South Rim is 7,000 feet. The North Rim is 8,000. So those of us who are brave enough will turn around after a quick cup of coffee, a short siesta, and head right back to the South Rim again. You'll see that a lot of these, where these dots are on the Bright Angel Trail and on the North Rim Trail, where it says like Supai Tunnel, Cottonwood, those are water stations and rest and bathroom stops. So there's a very rustic toilet and water. So we're not carrying water for 25 miles. It's 25 miles across and 4,000 vertical feet out. We'll go over specifics, but basically that's the trail. It's winding the whole way. It's not like you're coming down something steep. It's very, very gradual with lots of switchbacks. So it takes anywhere between 12 to 16, 17 hours to get out. You know, we're taking our time. This is not a race. It's a walk. I am super slow and I'm usually the last person out of the canyon. So here's the overall agenda. We arrive in Phoenix again, going by these dates. So this is day 1 when we land. We try to arrive in Phoenix, Arizona by 11 a.m. If you're 11:05, the buses will wait for you. If you're there early, it's my favorite part of the whole trip. We stop at this really cool farm and table place for a gorgeous breakfast, get to know each other. And if we're waiting for people, we go here and just have breakfast, have some coffee and wait for the other people. It's about 10 minutes away from the airport. Once we have everybody at the airport, all the vans are loaded up. It depends on, obviously, if you've got 5 people or 13 people, how many vans we'll take. But our outfitters will meet us at the airport, load up our luggage into the vans, and then drive about 4 hours to the South Rim from Phoenix. Well, bathroom stops, gas stops, and someone says, oh my gosh, I forgot my toothpaste or I forgot some snacks. By all means, we can stop along the way and grab that. This year, we made a quick Target run because everyone landed early. So we'll get to the South Rim of the Grand Canyon around 4 o'clock, which gives us about 3 hours of sunlight at that time of the year. And we'll set up camp. If you've never been a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout, the guides are awesome. They'll be there helping you, walk you through it. The first night, it's a little bit more work because we'll all get there together. And so the guides won't have time to have set up camp, but they'll be helping you. At the same time, they're making dinner. So we'll have a dinner around 6. We'll have a quick kickoff meeting, introductions, and that kind of thing with the guides and with all of the participants. You know, a nice hot dinner while we're waiting, and then early into our sleeping bags that night. It tends to be, you know, a little later than we'd like. Those of us on the East Coast were lucky. We're tired, we fall asleep, and having an early wake up call doesn't affect us because we're already on East Coast time. But we'll have the dinner. We need to pack our packs that night. So we'll have our hydration packs with us, all ready to go for the next morning. We'll wake up on Thursday, May 8th. We've been waking up earlier and earlier every year. We just find it better to be efficient, get out of the canyon at a reasonable hour. They tend to wake us up between 3:30 and 4. I anticipate a 3:30 a.m. wake-up call. They'll wake us up, we'll get dressed. Basically, you can put on some warm clothes. Temperatures will be probably, and we wake up in the 50s. Put on all your gear that we're going to go into the rim with, and so that's shorts, your running shoes, tops, and we'll go over that in a minute. Get all dressed up, and then they'll have coffee and breakfast waiting for us. Plenty of coffee. I demand a French press, none of this instant stuff for us. Plenty of breakfast that will get filled up, and then obviously our packs are all set. You just pack up your sleeping bag and your clothes and your duffel, and then they'll take down your tents, load up all the vans with the tents and all your gear. You don't have to worry about that. The picture you see on the right is our group starting out at 4:40 a.m. at the Bright Angel Trail at the South Rim. So we're dressed, ready to go. So I did say rim to rim to rim. That's a double crossing, south to north, back to south. Don't feel the need to do both. I didn't do both the first year. I now do both. And I'm being 100% candid. It's not that much harder to do both. Your body recovers very quickly, and it's an amazing expedition. But if you don't want to do both, not a problem. So those of us, those who are going to go south to north will wake up and do this. The others, it's going south to north is harder because you've got to climb up the extra 1,000 feet, and going north to south is easier. So don't need to tell me today, don't need to tell me next week, probably 2 weeks out, a week out, we kind of need to know a sense of what you're doing. No pressure. Those, a week ahead of time, we just need to know kind of certain numbers, what you're thinking. And then we're not going to hold anybody to it, but just kind of get an idea of what the numbers are. So those of us who are committed to going both ways will certainly obviously wake up, start hiking at 4:30 a.m. and then come out of the North Rim between 5 and 9 p.m. that first night. As I said, we can take our time, plenty of water stops, plenty of bathroom breaks. We're going to have one of the Rare Earth adventure guides in the front doing, he or she's the speed goat, staying ahead of the fastest person. And then we'll have somebody sweeping in the back. Nobody ever gets behind that person. I stopped to tie my shoe, and the guide said, nope, I got to wait for you. So they wouldn't let me go behind them. So there's nobody behind that sweep person. And I'm tending to go between everybody else. And they've got communication devices. God forbid there's a problem. And so we have satellite communication. We'll pack food enough, and then we'll have about 3 liters of water on us, and we'll kind of go over that, later on, but it's without too much detail. But usually the water stops, there's 7 along the way. Sometimes they're closed, as there were this past week, and we just kind of be more strategic. We know that they're closed, and then we know where to carry more water and not to carry water. Then we'll obviously have food. Well, as we said, we'll get the non-hikers will get into the vans, help break down camp a little bit. I really shouldn't say this, but the non-hikers have a blast. This guy named Connor, who's one of the guides, he was actually a ranger in the Grand Canyon a number of years ago. The man knows the place like nobody's business. It's an amazing tour. I shouldn't promote it because I don't want anybody to, I want everybody to go both ways, but if you don't go, it's not a torturous day. You have a 4-hour gorgeous drive up to the North Rim. We'll all rendezvous at the North Rim. Those of us who are hiking will get out, will be picked up, drive us to the campground. Our tents will be set up, dinner will be ready, and as soon as we get out, we'll be enjoying a nice hot meal. We'll, again, depending on the speed, hopefully get out not much later than 8, 9 p.m. On Thursday. Friday, same drill. We're a little more sore, a little stiff, but there's not one person who's ever dropped in on the second day that I wasn't able to make it, but didn't feel like it was that much harder. The second day, you know what you're doing mentally, and it's an easier day for everybody. So we're gonna drop in from the North Rim, similar time at 4 a.m., and then hike obviously down the 4,000 vertical feet across, and then the 3,000 vertical feet up to the South Rim.
Andrew, I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
During the day, what is the temperature around?
So it's just an incredible variance. The North Rim, my wife came along and they made her tea, and I woke up to drink the empty glass the next morning, and there was ice in it. And so it could be 28 degrees when you wake up on the North Rim. When I was at the base last week, it was 102 at Phantom Ranch. So there's a tremendous temperature swings, so we need to prepare for it. I would expect a lot of cold. And as I said, we've had 95-degree temperatures in the base of the canyon and come out and gotten hailed on and snowed on. So we have potential for very extreme temperatures. 102 at that time of year is not unheard of. And then 30-degree temperatures on the North Rim are not unheard of. So tremendous swings. Great question. So then we get out. Obviously, those of you who want an easier crossing, we'll do the singular crossing from north to south. And those of us who are going to go both ways will come out. They'll pick us up, take us to the camp again, have a campfire, have some s'mores. And those of us who are old enough want to partake in some beers can finally relax and have some beers. There's no rush to get up on Saturday, so you want to you can have 2-3 beers and then not worry about what time you're going to bed. Last week we found ourselves talking by the campfire until about 10:30 at night. Saturday morning, we're not in any rush. Really, most people will get their flights out sometime on Sunday. We have never had anybody fly out on a Saturday. If you guys say, Andy, I got to get back to my family or whatever it is, we understand, and we can kind of hustle back. But we tend to sleep in a little bit. There's showers that we could pay showers that you can bring your own towel, and you pay in quarters. I forget what the amount of money is. Have our coffee. You'll break down your tents. We'll pack up. We'll have a really powerful closing ceremony, and then we'll take you into the touristy section once you get your shot glasses and your stickers and anything you want to bring back for your loved ones. And then kind of depending on the group's mood, right? You might want to say, I want to get the heck out of here and get back. And sometimes if we're efficient enough, we can go to a brew pub in Flagstaff or something like that, and then finish the drive from the South Rim through Flagstaff back to Phoenix. And we get there, late afternoon because, we're not in a rush, trying to relax a little bit. So we grab a shower, and then we have a team dinner somewhere, either around Phoenix, or just bring in pizza and beer to the hotel. Don't worry about memorizing this. I'm just, we get a zillion questions about the camping stuff. So this is the general list, and I'll make sure you guys get a copy of the list. Nothing too complicated here, and don't stress like, oh my gosh, I don't have a sleeping bag that's that cold, I don't have a sleeping pad. We really don't want you to spend a lot of money. We want the money to go to your amazing foundation and not to buying gear. And so, reach out and say, hey, Andy, I don't have a sleeping bag, or I don't have a thermarest. Not a problem. So we're going to bring basic camping stuff, but all the big camping stuff, the cooking gear and the tents, all that stuff is provided for us, and we don't need to bring that. We do need, and actually we've had them donated, our hydration packs around here. So it's a very light 18-liter backpack that we don't want to carry too much weight. So usually there's a bladder in there, and it carries about 2 liters of water. And that's the big thing there. Again, don't spend money on it. We've gotten them donated. So just, again, let me know if you don't need a hydration pack, you want a hydration pack. Hiking poles, again, are provided by the outfitter. You know, I got everybody convinced who's ever done it with me to get what's called Hoka running shoes called Speed Goats. They're spectacular. I've been across 9 times now and haven't gotten one blister. They're fantastic shoes. Again, they're running shoes that you can keep, so you don't need to invest in a really expensive boot. Then we're going to bring some layers, right? You're going to want shorts for the bottom of the canyon. You're going to want a sun shirt. These were hugely popular this year. You know, it keeps the sun off of you when it's 106 degrees. We dump it in the water, and then it keeps you cool when it's 102 degrees at the base of the canyon. So that's, you know, the base. I mean, I have a quick question about the list. I don't want to dwell on that too much, but that's the list for the gear that you need. No? Okay. And then we
Andy, mute.
Oh, you're muted. Who's muted? Somebody there?
Not sure.
My mute. There we go. Why don't you continue on? You're talking about food, and I'll get my questions after that.
Okay. So that you know, the restaurant that my favorite restaurant, the Farm Table, that's not included. But they're going to provide breakfast, very hearty breakfast, a very hearty dinner, and then, you know,
Shut up.
and then, you know, there's enough food on the breakfast table to make a sandwich. But then, you know, bring some goos if you like, or whatever you tend to use when you're hiking or training. We know we can kind of talk offline about the gazillion things out there, but a variety, because you're going to get sick of eating it. Some salty snacks, so just a little bit of trail food. And again, your pack's pretty small, and so you can't bring a lot. But we're just going to bring a variety of snacks. That's going to bring your own.
Andy, mute.
And then, you know, we get these donated, these really cool electrolyte tablets. They're super, people were amazed how effective they were at stopping a lot of issues that they've had in the past. So that, you know, the basic questions that we tend to get, obviously there's a $3,000 fundraising minimum. So you raise $3,000 is the minimum. Obviously, you know, if you raise more money goes to FIRST Foundation. So that's the ticket to ride. And after that, you pay for a plane ticket. That's it. You arrive in Phoenix, and then, you know, as I said, that maybe that first breakfast,
Mute.
and then the last dinner is at a restaurant, and that's about it. But everything else is basically taken care of. And then there's obviously a great deal of training to be able to go 25 or 50 miles
Mute.
through the Grand Canyon.
I'm
Take some
sorry.
training. And we can kind of go over training plans over time, but we provide a variety of training plans. We have people who give us basically what mimics a marathon training. You don't need to run the marathon training. It says do 15 miles today. You just need to walk, hike, whatever you can do to cover that miles. There's no running involved. I do what's called a high intensity interval training, and I can send you that training as well, which is a little bit shorter. It's hard and painful, but it doesn't take as long. For those of us who are busy with kids and jobs, don't have time for marathon training, there's another way to do it. And I'd be glad to kind of set up another call to go over the training plans. But, you know, I joke a lot, I have some fun, and I talk about stuff, but it does take a lot of training. You really want to be in excellent condition. So that's that's the that's the trip in a nutshell. Oh, so no, it's not. It's nothing very steep at all. It's a definite incline, but it's switchbacks, so it's nothing drastically steep at all.
Right. And Rare Earth is the name of the company that you use to guide. Is that correct?
To do the logistics, correct. They're not allowed to technically guide in there, but they're there for safety for us and for logistics of putting up the tents and that kind of thing.
Okay. So this is, I can Google them and find out more about this company.
Absolutely.
Okay. And have you used this company for more than just this trip?
Oh yeah, they've taken us to Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, Mount El Dorado. We're going to the Pico de Orizaba in Mexico at 18,000 foot peak in February. Absolutely.
Okay. And who cooks and cleans?
Cooking is the guides.
Okay.
Rare Earth is all the cooking.
And porta potties.
So when you're at the rims, they're usually within 100 yards of the campsite, a bathroom with electricity, flushing toilets, hot and cold water. And then not far away is usually a shower. Showers are tough the first and second day, but if you get back in enough time, you can shower maybe Friday night, definitely Saturday morning. And then in the canyon itself, as I said, there's pumps for water. Basically, they're composting commodes. Very kind of.
And those were where
upscale.
those were where the dots were along.
Right. There's usually a pump and a composting toilet there. Yes.
Okay. And do you need water sterilization?
No, the water pumps are all clean. So all the pumps along the north and south rim are all safe to drink. This year, we were a little worried about there were significant outages about 2 weeks before the trip. And so our guys were carrying filters. So if in an emergency, we could filter the water in the streams and drink that. But the water in the pumps is plentiful and drinkable. If that's not an option, we bring our own filters to filter the water.
And it's the company's tents, but it's your your sleeping bags and pads.
Correct.
Okay. And they will take them from the south rim to the north rim and back again.
Correct.
So basically you're only going down with a day pack.
Correct. A very light hydration pack, about 18-liter pack, very small.
All right. So just a small hydration pack.
Correct.
All right. And we can't stay in that Relais and Chateau hotel that's on the North Rim? No.
That's up to Chris. If Chris wants to treat me, that's totally fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions about
what is that? Oh, how many people will go on this?
So
what's your max? What's your max and minimum?
Our max is 13 participants.
How many did you have last week?
8. We had 20 a couple of years ago. We took the John Kerry Business School. Too many. Too many. 13 is a much better number.
I may have missed this before, but Andy, have you worked with individuals with ichthyosis before? Is that something that you're familiar with, or that there's other people other than us on the trip that will be familiar with?
I have not. I was at the conference, and I know, a 35,000 foot view of the situation. And, I'm going to put it out there because we've been offered in the past. We've offered to take people with multiple sclerosis who are challenged by heat. So 102 degrees in the canyon is a problem. So one gentleman cannot do it, but Rare Earth Adventures offered to take him at night. And so if sun is a problem, we could discuss options. We're committed to helping your foundation and your organization. So if you could say, we have 8 people that want to go at night, and we can go at night where it's cooler and you don't have the sun challenges. But I personally don't know that much myself, and I obviously can educate myself. And the guides all have wilderness first aid training. I don't think they're specific to this, and they can learn about it.
Great. Yeah, no, I was just wondering, so I'm a pediatric dermatologist and
Oh my
I'm on
goodness.
the medical and scientific
Oh my
advisory board for
goodness.
FIRST.
Awesome.
I'm
You
also a
kidding.
marathon runner and
Oh my
very
gosh.
worthy.
You're
And my
totally
husband
coming.
and I, in June, maybe 10 years ago, went down to the base of the canyon and back up. And my very fit marathon running, 30-year-old husband at the time had a lot of trouble making it back out. I think we didn't choose our trail correctly because there was no water on
That's
South
right.
Kaibab at
That's
that point.
Kaibab is
It
exactly
was a
right.
huge problem, but I know that a lot of individuals with ichthyosis have problems with sort of body temperature regulation, and lose a lot of extra water through their skin, which I feel like are just challenges for anybody with normal skin in that area.
Sure.
So
Oh, I know.
I just want to make sure we're all working together to keep everybody safe.
Yeah,
in some of
and
these
obviously I would love to have you
temperatures.
connect with the guides ahead of time. And again, they're first wilderness first aid certified, but any education you can provide them ahead of time would be greatly appreciated. We can kind of go over, I'm very sensitive. I don't have that, but you can cover head to toe with this gear and it's super technology now with your with baseball hat, this, and you're pretty well covered. But there's a lot of different ways we could counteract it with buffs and everything else, or going at night.
So my question was something similar to that, I guess on the same lines is what type of medical staff do you guys have besides being CPR and certified with survival type stuff? Because, my daughter overheats in 80-degree weather. She plays volleyball, she plays softball outside, but we are very careful. I have a cooler with ice. We have cooling towels. So it is a lot more gear than just a typical run. I also run, not marathons yet. I'll have one in January, but I do 10Ks and half marathons pretty consistently. And even myself, I just get warm, April and May in Florida. I can't imagine having the temperature swings from 30 to 100 and that being something safe for someone who is almost completely heat intolerant.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I don't know that much about it, so it might not be for everyone that has ichthyosis. So you might do a case by case basis. You can see how the training goes.
I don't know that I would send her. I would be more likely to come. I don't know. She's only 14.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I don't know that I would send her.
Okay.
I was just more concerned. I do know that the emails that we've received said, they would like to have affected individuals come. And I just know some of those challenges that we face living in Florida and her being as active outside as she is, how much extra gear we bring with ourselves when she needs to be outside versus me running myself at somewhere without the constriction of heat intolerance. So
absolutely.
I appreciate, everything that you've just said. So I have 2 children affected with ichthyosis, but I am contemplating taking my 11-year-old with me. He's completed multiple mountain hikes with me. We just did like a 14.8-mile hike in the Adirondacks to the top of Mount Marcy. His furthest trail is 21 miles. So fitness wise, I think he's fine, but the heat is a concern. And so I just was wondering if even through the foundation, if there's any suggestions of gear that would be helpful for something as extreme as the temperatures that we'll see. Obviously, we have some cooling towels and things that were mentioned as well, but I don't know, you're always finding out new things that exist, the technology that's out there. So it might be worth contemplating to see.
for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely had patients who, use cooling vests. They need to kind of be re-cooled and, get more ice in them. And I don't know how easy that'll be, along the trail.
Mhm.
But I think it's kind of worth a discussion just to make sure that we're, I agree. Let's think outside the box because hopefully we can find things.
Yeah. I think if if heat is a concern, and it sounds like it is, we could be very strategic, right? So we don't necessarily need to go at night, but if everyone's saying, you know, if you go, for example, we went south to north. It's a little bit more challenging, but the sun came up a little bit. The way the sun comes up, we really didn't have. We had a very small window on the heat, so we can get up a little earlier. Maybe we get up at 2:30, start at 3:30, and we won't be out during the heat of the day. We'll be out safe. And we can talk about new technology, and it's all great, but just old technology. We kept dunking our shirts into the streams and putting them on, and dunking our. I have a bandana that I would dunk and put on my neck. I dunk my hat and keep my head wet. I swam in the stream. I went in and did lay down in the water to cool off. So there's a lot of different opportunities to do.
I have a great Coolie Bar hoodie that I bought several years ago that I use hiking, and people look at me very strangely because I'm covered up because of the sun down to my wrists and over my head. And I tell you, I dump water over that thing and it keeps me cool. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And if that is something that, patients who have ichthyosis have used, that type of thing, you could get Coolie Bar to donate hoodies for everyone to help cool. I think that company would do something like that for us.
Yeah, they were,
They have their logo on there on that side, and they have our logo on the other side.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great suggestion. I know that being outside, the polyester long sleeve, similar to the Coolie shirt you're talking about, seems to work pretty well for my daughter. I just would be cautious. You'd still need access to cool water because of it being a drier environment. That shirt's going to evaporate very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So it would, constant cooling of that shirt or getting it wet would definitely be helpful for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned 3,000 and 4,000 vertical feet. And any issues with altitude sickness?
People have experienced altitude sickness at 8,000 feet, so it's not unheard of. Typically, someone will get a headache, get a little bit of dizziness, but you can feel it. And obviously, it's more challenging to breathe and go up to altitude, at that height. So it makes it even more difficult. But no, we've had no altitude sickness per se. We're hydrating, a lot. We're eating a lot, and obviously we're going up really slowly.
With the fundraising, you mentioned that it was $3,000. That's per participant. So if my son and I came, I'd have to raise 6,000.
Right.
And then what percentage of that goes to FIRST?
The cost for the trip, for the guides, the food, the transport, the vans, the hotel is about $1,000. So FIRST gets about 2,000 of that, and then obviously, everything beyond that, if you raise 5,000 each, more money goes to FIRST. It's not a percent, so our guides just bill us a flat rate, so they make no money on us. They said, "Here's my costs, pay our costs," and that's it. So they're awesome. They're awesome to work with, and they're helping us raise a lot of money.
What was the shower situation again? Going back to the water questions before.
Yeah. So again, assuming there's no water problems, there was a water problem just before we got there, and the showers were shut down. Sometimes they'll close early because there's some water problems in terms of droughts down there. As advertised, the showers are usually open to about 5 or 6 o'clock. So if you get back in time, you can grab a shower. Not Wednesday, possibly Thursday, and possibly Friday. So if you're not going to hike one of those days, obviously you can grab a shower. Or if you get back at a timely fashion, maybe people get back at 3, 4 o'clock, they were able to get a shower. And definitely Saturday morning, if the showers are working, we can drive you to the shower, and it's not an issue to get a shower Saturday morning. And then we're to hotels Saturday night for a nice shower.
Is that in the fee too, that the 3,000 that you had mentioned, that hotel, or is that separate? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's included as well. Or yeah, we pay for the hotels.
Yeah.
Other questions?
So, yes, I have a question for Chris, either Chris. I was thinking of asking a couple of my friends who might want to do this, but if the maximum number is 13, how are you going to figure out when to open it up to, let's say, people who are not immediately either have ichthyosis or involved with the foundation?
I didn't hear your question, Len. It's pretty.
You were kind of muffled.
That muffling problem again. I'll send you an email. I'll send you an email.
You can use
Okay.
the chat in the bottom down below if you type it in, but he was asking something about the total number of people at 13. What's the number from FIRST? I think he said he had some people potentially outside of FIRST who could join.
We've had interest from about close to 20 people, but that doesn't mean 20 will be doing it. That's why we're having this info session. So I guess over the course of the next couple days, we'll get a little bit more, maybe some of you after listening to this think it's not for you. Please let us know that. But, Christopher, I don't know if you have an opinion on, you just want to have the number that Andy's looking for total.
Well, it'd be great if we had 13 people from FIRST. I don't know if that's going to be, if that's a real concern.
Okay.
You think that's about what you'll get, you think?
I'm hoping that we get 5 or 6, I think would be a great yield from the interest that we have, honestly.
Okay.
So I always sort of thought would be, some of your people and some of our people would be merged together. But if we could fill up the whole trip, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, if you had 5, we would, try to fill up the other 8. Absolutely.
What's the minimum number of people?
4. But if you had 4, we would obviously supplement that and hopefully get over the minimum.
And one of the things that Andy, I think he's undersold a little bit is those group activities, the dinners and the sitting on the campfire and there's a lot of camaraderie and sharing, and that's it, and making it really a meaningful experience. I think is an important part of the whole experience.
Yeah, it's true.
So you really only had 2 guides. Is that right?
We have 2 guides in the canyon. And so we have 2 guides in the canyon. Then we had somebody managing the South Base Camp and managing comms there. And then we had 2 other guides driving around. So yes, 2 in the canyon. Well, I'm not a guide, but obviously I've been there enough time and I knew, I know the way around in there. If there's a problem, there's rangers there. And so that's the thing. If someone has a major issue, our guides are not going to rescue you out of there. We're going to contact the rangers who then they'll follow their emergency protocols.
Well, I think this is the start of a great conversation. I hope that we've provided you all the information you need to make a decision. I hope you all can join us. I hope the people who weren't able to join tonight will get the information. And I don't know if we're going to publish the recording because of our unfortunate incident. I do want to apologize for that. That was beyond our control. I think it was one of the risks we take when we sort of publicly market the link on our social media and that sort of thing. So
Okay.
I apologize for that. That was unacceptable.
I just chatted everybody. my email address. So if you have a specific question, like are this pack good, or these kind of running shoes, or how many goos, absolutely, just feel free to reach out with any specific questions.
Put it in the, okay, there it is, okay.
And if you have decided after this that you're definitely in, you want to join us next May, let us know that too.
Yeah, we just got to ask for a $200 deposit. So you can either write us a check or credit card for it, or you can go out and raise it. So, get your friends to donate $200 and you're in. We still want to hold
Right.
spots.
And FIRST has the capability to help you with your fundraising. We have online tools so that you can sign up, create your own webpage, send it to your friends, your Christmas card list, whatever it is, and we'll help raise the money. You can customize your webpage, have a picture of why you are participating, why you're deciding to undertake this expedition, and then send that out. And you can program automatic acknowledgements so that when someone does make a contribution, they immediately get a thank you note, all that kind of stuff, and you can keep them posted while you're actually doing it, depending on your signal, that sort of thing. But that's going to be a part we really want to take advantage of. So we have the tools for the fundraising. We also want to keep that communication part going to keep the whole community involved in what's going on. So we'll ask that if you are participating, that you sort of share your experience, your training, your readiness. Take a picture when you're on the South Rim, getting ready to take off, and let's share it with the greater community.
I love it. That's great. I'm sure you guys have wonderful letters, about what you're doing. So we have sort of form letters that either you can customize about the expeditions, or you can just use yours, or we can kind of take those. But we have kind of a campaign that you send out this letter, then this email to help kind of drive donations over time.
Right. All right. If there's no further questions, I want to thank you all for signing on tonight. We really appreciate it, and I hope you'll join us. And if not, help spread the word to others about this expedition. I think it's going to be a great experience for the people who join on, and for the bigger community who get to live vicariously through some of our adventurers.
Sounds great.
Thanks.
Thanks for working.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.